Mate Bhaktivedanta Swami Tinamai Namaste Saraswati Shri Goswami Bacharine Navasesha Sunyavadi Pastacharya Shatarni Hare Krishna. Vanakkam? Vanakkam? How long have you been in Manila?
2 months.
2 months only. My goodness. Are you from Chennai or where from? Pardon? Trichy. From Trichy? Really? All from Trichy? Huh? Kalalu. All different parts of Tamil. No one from Chennai. Chennai? Are you familiar with the Hare Krishnas in Tamil Nadu? Yes? In Trichy we have centre. Different parts of Tamil Nadu. Nice. Are you first time coming? Where's Indravali? Is she here? You have to talk to our guests. They're coming for the first time. They're from Tamil Nadu. They have familiar with the Hare Krishnas, but first time coming here. They've been in Manila 2 months and they're studying medicine. Okay?
Yes.
So you must talk to them afterwards, or you must talk to them. Somebody should talk to you. You don't speak Tamil, do you? No. Hindi. You speak Hindi? No. In South they don't speak Hindi. Tamil. Anyway, you speak in English, okay? He's also working now he was studying here, now he's working in India. But his wife is doctor here also, in Manila. And he was studying in Manila, like you studying. Same college or a different one? Different college. Different one. Doesn't matter. So we're going to read now from a book called Srimad Bhagavatam, which is a very large scripture, and it deals primarily with the beautiful glories, pastimes, etc. of the Supreme Lord in his various forms. And now we're hearing about the form of Krishna, the supreme fountainhead of everybody and everything. And we're reading a chapter called The Killing of the Demon Aghasura. It's in the 10th canto, chapter 12. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. I think some adjustment on the computer is required to make it broad. You can't really follow it like this. Ah, there we go. Which verse have you got? Verse 27. Pardon? That's arbitrary. Today we're reading from text 25 onwards. Text 25 onwards. Itang mito tatyam matadhyajabhashitam. We'll come to another verse, I'll just read these through. Shudva vichintyet yang vishamishayate Paksho vidit vakila puttarit stita Sanam nirodam bhagavan manodade. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna, who is situated as Antaryami, the Super Soul, in the core of everyone's heart, heard the boys talking among themselves about the artificial python. Unknown to them, it was actually a Aghasura, a demon who had appeared as a python. Krishna, knowing this, wanted to forbid his associates to enter the demon's mouth. Tavat papishtas tvasarodarantarang parang navirna shishavaksavatsaha patikshamane. All the coward boys entered the mouth of the demon. The demon, however, did not swallow them, for he was thinking of his own relatives who were being killed by Krishna, and he was just waiting for Krishna to enter the mouth. Tan viksha Krishnak sakalavaya pado yananyanatan svakaradavatchutan dinang shamichor jataragni gashan vinarito dishta vitena vismita. Krishna saw that all the coward boys who did not know anyone but him as their Lord had now gone out of his hand and were helpless, having entered like straws into the fire of the abdomen of Agasura, who was death personified. It was intolerable for Krishna to be separated from his friends, the coward boys. Therefore, as if seeing that this had been arranged by his internal potency, Krishna was momentarily struck with wonder and unsure of what to do. What an amazing pastime, huh? Krishna is unsure what to do. Supreme God, source of all knowledge, everything comes from him, even Agasura comes from him. But here he appears to be bewildered. We'll hear about that in a minute. Krichang kimatrasya kalasya jivanam nava amisham cha satam vihingsanam dvayam katang syad eti sang vichintya yadvan vishatandam ashesha dvigari. Now, what was to be done? How could both the killing of this demon and the saving of the devotees be performed simultaneously? Krishna, being unlimitedly potent, decided to wait for an intelligent means by which he could simultaneously save the boys and kill the demon. Then he entered the mouth of Agasura. So Krishna also decided to enter into the mouth. In the purport, Srila Prabhupada writes, Krishna is known as Ananta Vira Sarvagya because everything is known to him. Because he knows everything perfectly well, it was not difficult for him to find a means by which he could save the boys and at the same time kill the demon. Thus he also decided to enter the demon's mouth. Tada gana tada deva payada heti chakrushahu jar shurye chakangshadya konapastraga bandavaha. When Krishna entered the mouth of Agasura, the demigods hidden behind the clouds exclaimed, "Alas! Alas!" They thought, now Krishna's finished, he's entered the demon's mouth. Ah, no! He was a big demon. He was many miles long, 8 miles long. That's a long way. That's further than Manila from here. Big demon, high as the sky. But the friends of Agasura, like Kamsa and other demons, were jubilant. They could understand. Ah, Krishna's entered Agasura's mouth. He's finished. Tatchutva Bhagavan Krishnas Tan Tvavyaya Sarvavatsakam Churni Chikishor Atmanam Tadasava Videgale. When the invincible Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna heard the demigods crying, "Alas, alas!" from behind the clouds, he's inside the body of this demon, he immediately enlarged himself within the demon's throat. He's still in the throat. Just to save himself and the cowherd boys, his own associates, from the demon who wished to smash them. Purport. Such are the acts of Krishna. Paritvinaya sadhunam vinashaya jaduskritam. Some of you know this verse. Famous verse from Bhagavad Gita, spoken by Krishna. What did he say? Paritvinaya sadhunam vinashaya jaduskritam. What does it mean? What does it mean? It's okay, she's a good girl. What does it mean? Anybody there? Anybody at home? Where are you all? Dreaming somewhere. What is the meaning of this verse? One of the famous verses of Bhagavad Gita. There's two verses, huh? Yada yada hi dharmasya glaniya bhavati bharata abhyutanam adharmasya tadatmanam srijamyaham. Hold on, we're still chanting the Sanskrit over there. We're saying the English, we're saying the Sanskrit. Whenever and wherever there is a decline in religious principles and a prominent rise of irreligion, at that time I descend myself to re-establish the principles of religion in order to protect the devotees as well as to annihilate the demons. I appear in this world millennium after millennium. The real purpose of Krishna's appearance, he appears in a human-like form. Now, he also appears in a god-like form. When he appeared first in the prison house of Kamsa, he chose to appear there as the son of Vasudeva and Devaki. He appeared in a four-armed form, showing his godhead, fully decorated, hair, crowns, jewelry, everything, all the four symbols of Narayan, everything was there. So it's not a very, and when you see that type of form of the Lord, it's not very intimate, especially if your child, now, if your child had appeared with 4 arms and decorated with jewels and a crown and everything fully, you'd be shocked, huh? You wouldn't know what to do. You'd be stunned, right? You may or may not know this is a form of the goddess of fortune or the Supreme Personality of Godhead, but you would be shocked. And if you knew it was a form of God, you'd become extremely reverential. You could hardly imagine this is my son or daughter. So Krishna appears in a way that he receives intimate, loving relation. He enjoys more than being worshipped. He enjoys loving relations with pure associates, pure devotees. So here we see him interacting with his devotees who are serving him in the form of friends. Cowherd boys in Sakyarasa. Every one of us knows when we were kids, even now, we have our friends, isn't it? And if we don't, we feel lonely. We all like to have friends. And we like to play when we're young, particularly. We like to play with our friends. Isn't it fun? You kids remember when you were young in Tamil Nadu? Right? Some of you from the village, maybe? Anyone from a village? Villages? It's lovely, huh? You're playing with your friends, with the animals in the forest here and there. It's really nice. You live in the city, they also play. They don't have the same facility, but they play in the streets and here and there. Games, different mischief children get up to. They enjoy it. It's fun. You're playing with your friends. Then those spoil sports parents come along and say, stop. It's time to stop playing. You've got to come home. Time for school. Oh, no, I don't want to go to school. Homework. I don't want to do homework. Even eating. I don't want to eat. I want to play. It's fun, huh? I don't know, girls maybe not quite so bad as the boys. The boys are really mischievous when they're young, usually. And anyway, whatever it is, we like to have friends. Girlfriends, boyfriends, this friend, that friend. It's a really sweet thing, much sweeter than all the you can say the institutional factors like school and going here and there and having to do this and that. Spontaneous play. Well, God likes to do that too, although it's unknown to most people because we're so materialistic. We can only visualize God in a reverential way. And that is good. That's the beginning, you could say, of our relationship with Godhead. But much, much deeper. So here we're hearing about some of the deeper relationship, even to the point where Krishna appears in a human-like form. Avanan, how does that verse go? Mamuda, Manusham Tanam Ashritam. Huh? You remember the whole verse? Anyway, whatever it is. Fools deride me when I descend in a human-like form. They do not know my transcendental nature and supreme dominion over all that be. They think he's just an ordinary human. People think Krishna's just like us. Well, sometimes we think he's like, here he is. He appears in this world and he does this thing. He has dances with girls and so on and so forth. He has thousands and thousands of wives. I think he's just like us. He's trying to enjoy. Oh God, can we do that? 16,100 wives? I don't think so. And he expanded himself even. Would you like to have 16,000 wives when you get older? Huh? Hey? What do you girls think? Is he up to it? Is he up to it? I don't think so. Even if you were, you couldn't expand yourself 16,000 times. Krishna expanded himself. If you believe that he had 16,000 wives, if you believe that, you have to believe that he also expanded himself because it's in the same verse. You can't accept one end and not the other. That's the tendency. They take one side, they don't take the other. Krishna expanded his very self in forms to be with each wife all the time. And each form was the same but different. Relating with each wife according to her individuality. They're not all like robots. Each one had their own individual behavior. This is God. He can do anything. He can expand himself 16 billion, trillion times if he likes. He can do anything he likes. We see here the cowherd boys, they're calfhood boys actually at this age. They haven't quite reached cowherd stage. They're still herding the calves. So they entered in. And you know how many calves there were entered into the mouth with the boys? There were billions of boys. It wasn't like 20 friends. Krishna has unlimited friends. Billions of them. All roaring and dancing and chanting. Millions of them playing flutes. They also have flutes. Buffalo horns. They're singing and dancing as they enter into the mouth of Aghasura. It's fun. It's not like, And they're also calling upon Krishna to manifest another one of his transcendental qualities. We'll come to that in a minute. And there were cows. Oh, you're supposed to be in the kitchen. Get back in the kitchen. The cows, not cows. Calves, little cows, beautiful little cows. So many cows. About 10 billion cows entered into the mouth of Aghasura. He was pretty big, huh? Had a big belly. Can you imagine eating 10 billion gulab jamans? You'd be finished. But this demon was very powerful. Anyway, whatever it was, many of them entered in, and Krishna, and then eventually he was a little perplexed. Now let us read something about this perplexity. It's hard to imagine. If Krishna doesn't get perplexed. Now, everything has its origin in the spiritual world. Everything and every emotion has its origin in Godhead. You can't have anything existing in this world if it doesn't have its origin in the supreme origin of everything. It may be deflected and perverted in this world in different ways, but its pure origin is in God. So I think we should start here. Let me just move back. So these are various. I was hoping there was an essay. Our Grand Spiritual Master Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj wrote many essays on various demons who were killed by Krishna. But I couldn't find an essay on Aghasura. On several of the other demons there are essays. Dhenukasura, Kaliya, Putana, and so on. But here's some notes from various acharyas. Krishna appeared bewildered when the boys entered the Aghasura against his wish, which we just heard. So normally, Krishna has one potency. This potency is called Satya Sankalpa Shakti. It means the potency which fulfills all of Krishna's desires. Normally, everything in the pastimes of the spiritual world are to fulfill Krishna's desire. It's like we have a little bit of that potency, but it's not, everyone, and there's competition and this and that. So you may have a little desire to fulfill. You have a little of this type of potency, very minute, Satya Sankalpa potency. But everyone has it to a little teeny degree, and we're competing with each other to try to obtain the same object. So we don't always get what we want. But we want to fulfill our desires. But Krishna has the origin of this. And in completeness, normally everything in the spiritual world is based on this principle, to fulfill Krishna's desires. So what's happening here? He doesn't want the boys to go into the mouth, but they do. Amazing, huh? Because they're drawing out of Krishna another potency which is even more ecstatic and more satisfying than that one. Krishna's more satisfied to satisfy his devotees than he is to satisfy himself. Does it make sense? If you really love somebody, you're more interested to satisfy them than you are to satisfy yourself. Hare Krishna, thank you so much. Well, what should I do with it? Thank you, Hare Bo. Wonderful, Hare Krishna. Just came from the market. Here, fruits. We're going to open a fruit stall later in the day outside. We have about 50 kilos of fruit upstairs, I think. I'm not sure. Quite a lot anyway. Sometimes when you love somebody, rationality, logic, common sense even goes out the door, right? All that matters is, you don't care what's going on around you. There could be a war going on. There could be some pandemic going on. It just isn't in your consciousness. You're loving somebody. You have a boy and girl are having a loving, intimate relationship. They don't care what's going on outside. They don't even consider the consequences. They're just absorbed in their loving relationship. And this is higher than considering, you could say, the normal situation, or what would appear to be common sense around one. So Krishna, as a person, he is a person. He's not just some energy. He is the most personal of all persons. Most conscious. Nityo nityanam chaitanas chaitananam. Eko bahunam yo vidadati kaman. Unlimited living entities. We're all living entities too. Nityo nityanam. Out of all the unlimited eternal living entities, there's one, Eko bahunam yo vidadati kaman. One who is the origin, the source, the supreme of everyone. Everyone is conscious. He is the most conscious. He's conscious of everything. We're only conscious of our little world that we live in. We have no consciousness beyond that. Krishna is conscious of everything. So he's trying to fulfill all aspects of his various potencies, his various shaktis. So that was thwarted. His normal potency, this Satya Sankalpa Shakti, was thwarted. Amazing. Another good example of that would be Krishna's potency to protect his devotees. When Haridas Thakur was being tormented and tortured by the guards and the soldiers of the Nawab, they were trying to kill him. Lord sent his Sudarshan Chakra immediately, but Haridas Thakur, he was completely personified of the compassionate nature, the Karuna Shakti of the Lord, and that Karuna Shakti overwhelmed the other Shakti who could do nothing. Nothing. Couldn't protect Haridas in that sense, because Haridas was full of compassion for those persons who were trying to kill him. So different Shaktis, they compete with each other like this. No. But what happened here, it was thwarted in one sense, but in another sense, no. Because a higher potency came into place, called Leela Shakti. Where's Leela Shakti? There she is. Leela Shakti came on the scene. Okay? Now she's getting all wondering what's going on here. Leela Shakti appeared. She probably just woke up. Leela Shakti appeared. And actually, she was one of those powerful Shaktis of the Lord, was harmonizing everything. It was all going on. Krishna allows his Shaktis here to take the, you could say, the lead role. Was organizing or harmonizing everything. The boys' desires were to be protected by Krishna. They wanted this. They were completely surrendered to Krishna. They just said, Krishna, we're yours. You do, or you're ours, whatever way you look at it. They just wanted Krishna to protect us. We're just like you'll protect a part of your body when there's danger. When it's your medical students, you know. When the hand is burned or whatever it is, the rest of the body, everything, even in the body, when you get a cut in the body, I've heard that the body automatically sends certain chemicals to that spot where the cut is to help deal with a cut, to dry it up, to deal with a wound, everything. The body has this whole, medical team in the form of various chemicals and so on, which rush to the spot to deal with the injury to the body. You can't see it. We think with this body, we have no idea what's going on. Isn't it mad? We think with the body, we don't even know what's going on inside it. So like that, Krishna, they're all parts and parcels of Krishna. There is eternal expansions. So naturally, Krishna is going to protect his parts and parcels. They're just like his own being, practically. So they want to draw this Shakti out of Krishna. They're excited. And that prevails above all other desires, including Krishna's. This mood of the devotee wants to bring everything, the loving reciprocation out of their beloved. Krishna was astonished at the working. This is his bewilderment, not so much what am I going to do. He's bewildered by his own Shaktis. Incredible. His own potency. How his Leela Shakti is working so wonderfully here. The boys, they have no parabdha, there's a various aparabdha, they have no particular self-desire. Their only desiring is to glorify Krishna, to love Krishna, to see Krishna, to be protected by Krishna, etc. Leela Shakti is causing me, Krishna thinks, to exhibit the compassionate mellow, Karuna Ras. This is the highest mellow. In the spiritual world, Radharani is said to be the personification of compassion. She's always thinking how to increase Krishna's pleasure. Even in the next pastime after this, we hear about Lord Brahma trying to steal the calves and the coward boys. But he first of all thought, let me now do something which will cause Krishna to perform activities even more wonderful than ever before. So he's thinking like that too. How to increase the pleasure, Krishna's pleasure, how to show more, and to prove that Krishna is the origin of everything, that he is indeed the Supreme Person. Brahma was thinking like that. Having seen, Brahma was watching the killing of Aghasura, and after that, he saw Krishna going to the bank of the Yamuna with these countless calves and coward boys and having a picnic, and they're playing there, and he was thinking, my God, is this my God? My God? Is this Krishna's God? Look at him. He's playing like an ordinary boy. I better test him to see if this is really the Godhead. So then he did what he did. But he's also thinking at the other side of him, let me do something which will cause Krishna to perform activities even greater than what he's shown so far. So he's now thinking, as we've already heard that. He wanted to keep his mood of just being one of the cowherd boys. He was the center of their hearts, but he was still nonetheless playing just like any other boy, fighting with each other, sometimes getting defeated, stealing the lunch packs of the other boys. Sometimes they would steal his lunch pack. He would have to carry boys on his back. They would be back and forth like this, just like equals. Krishna enjoyed this more, this fun of friendship. So he was still trying to, he wasn't trying to show particularly, some potency which would destroy this relationship of friendship with his boyfriends. So, and he arranged, when he desired another kind of pleasure, he actually, although it appears that Kamsa sent Aghasura, everything was a part of Krishna's orchestrated plan to increase the pleasure potencies. Such fun. Anyway, whatever it is, the boys were thinking, maybe this is a statue. Maybe this is some big serpent. Maybe it's a demon who's appeared in this form. But never mind. Let us have some fun. Let us see what Krishna does now. Let us enter in. So they all entered into the mouth of the demon, and basically they were unconscious in the stomach of that demon. So this great demon, Aghasura, there's another side to this. I'm going to read now about something which Bhakti Vinod Thakur said. Just put this on slideshow. Bhakti Vinod Thakur says, the devotee who worships the holy name should first petition the Lord for the strength to cast out all unfavorable tendencies. That the devotee is one who is trying to awaken pure love of Godhead by molding their lives according to the direction of Guru, Shastra, Scriptures, Sadhu, in a way which will please the Supreme. And thus, purifying their hearts, the Lord gives realizations. So one thing in our hearts is we have unfavorable tendencies, desires for selfish satisfaction of various kinds, and should pray thus before the Lord on a daily basis. By doing this regularly, the devotee's heart will eventually become purified. Krishna has killed a number of demons which may arise in the kingdom of the heart. We have all kinds of unwanted desires rising in our heart like bubbles in the ocean. They're under the surface. They come to the surface in due course of time in the form of material desires of various kinds. So in order to destroy these problems, sometimes there are tendencies like a tendency to be envious or to have a certain propensity to exploit this world that we're in. Maybe we have some cruel desires. We have to destroy these problems. A devotee must cry very humbly before the Lord and admit defeat. We cannot overcome themselves on our own. In Christianity, they also accept that. I'm a sinner. What can I do? Please forgive me. That's step one. Step two is, if we are sinful and we cannot overcome them, very hard, Krishna says, to overcome. It's possible, but very difficult. Then we take shelter of the Lord. We don't just ask for forgiveness. The Lord can remove these dirty things from our heart. Because to enter into the kingdom of God, according to the Bible, we have to be pure in heart. According to all Shastras, one has to be completely pure in heart, free of all these selfish desires and motivations. By the mercy of the Lord, the heart or the consciousness can become purified. Then the Lord will nullify all contaminations. The holy name, like the sun, dispels the darkness of illusion. However, sometimes clouds or mist cover the sun from the viewer, so that only a portion of light comes through. Just like today, it's a little bit cloudy, but not like yesterday. Yesterday was completely cloudy. It rained almost all day, huh? Heavy rain. Today, maybe there'll be some rain, I don't know. But there's a little cloud, but not completely. So some sunlight is always there in the daytime. But no more. A little sun you can see. But a portion of the light only is coming. In the same way, when ignorance and anarthas means material desires, you could say, predominate, the sun of the holy name becomes covered. It's not the sun exactly is covered, we are covered. So we don't see it properly. The sun is not covered. We can say, oh, the clouds are covering the sun. They're not. The clouds are only a mile or two away, if that. The sun is millions and millions of miles away. The sun is not covered. We are covered. Just near us, we have this covering. We can't see the great sun. So the Son of the Holy Name appears to become covered, and only a portion of the full effect of the name is felt. So we chant the holy name of Krishna, but there's still some of these coverings, these anarthas in our heart. The sky of our consciousness is covered, and so only a portion of the holy name is experienced. Maybe a little bit. A reflection, or just a little dim light of the holy name we may experience the presence of. Therefore, in some cases, the holy name will appear in full force in the heart of the chanter. When we feel that the coverings are open, sometimes there's a break in the clouds, and you feel, whoa! And then the clouds come again, oh. But in other cases, clouds of ignorance and anarthas will minimize the effect of the name on the chanter. With a sincere desire to become purified of all material contaminations, one should read the various pastimes concerning, from the 10th canto of Bhagavatam, concerning Krishna killing the demons. With all humility, one should pray to Krishna and Balaram to remove the impurities within oneself personified by the demons whom they represent. So now we're talking about Aghasura, one of the demons whom Krishna killed. It represents killing these desires, these material desires in our hearts. And who does Aghasura represent? What type of desire or what kind of anartha does he represent? Who knows? Pardon? 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 Somebody's saying something. I can't see who it is, or I can't hear what it is. I can just hear a sound in the background. I can't. A microphone, maybe, if you want to give an answer. Who does Aghasura represent? Which type of anartha? Huh? Eating too much? That's a good guess. He was eating the caribous, too many of them. Good guess, I must say. Yes, someone's got something to say?
Envy.
Envy. Well, certainly serpents are envious, that's for sure. Now, envy is more personified, is related, of course, more personified by Kaliya, another serpent in Krishna's pastime. He particularly represents the anartha, or possesses the anartha of envy, which is also true, you could say, of Aghasura. Everyone in this world is envious to some degree, otherwise we wouldn't be here at all. And certainly those of demoniac mentality are always envious. But he specifically represents, let's see what he says. And these are mentioned by Bhaktivinoda Thakur in various places, in Bhajana Rahasya, Krishna Samhita also, and in Chaitanya Sikshamrita. 3 different books written, and you'll find slightly different information within these literatures. Complete lack of compassion. Some people, they don't care less what their actions have on others. They don't care less. All they think about is my own satisfaction or the satisfaction of my own group. They don't care less about others. So he's one personification of that. He's a personification of hatred toward others and a tendency to harass people, cause them harm. They get pleasure out of seeing others suffer. This is the Bhagavad Gita. Krishna also explains the demoniac mentality. One of the aspects of this mentality is you get happiness when you see others suffer. Demoniac. Sometimes we have a bit of that. I think you can see that especially amongst sometimes children. They get pleasure by torturing insects. I don't know if adults are aware or conscious that we may also indirectly or directly obtain pleasure out of causing harm to other living entities. We're not aware of it. But for instance, when we eat meat, we're getting pleasure out of eating meat, but it causes harm to other living entities. The animal has to be killed in order for us to get pleasure. Prematurely. It's not meant food for humans, but most of us have or are still unaware of that, or attached to it, or don't consider it. The world generally doesn't. Experiments in medical world, you often have to experiment on insects and creatures, other creatures, testing the medicines out. Do you think they like it? You have to ask them. Don't ask me. You have to ask the animal if it likes being killed, or the insect if it likes to be whatever, some drug stuck in it. Of course, we can say for a higher purpose, for the sake of human protection, so sometimes that could be, you could say, somewhat understood. But still we have to consider it, and we should try not to cause harm to others. But some living entities don't seem to care less. All they care about is their own fulfillment of their own desire. So Aghasuras like that. Intolerance, another aspect which he represents, which we may have. We are intolerant to the ideas of others that don't agree with us. We don't have the ability to tolerate the ideas or behaviors different from ours. We get upset. We argue. We campaign. We go on the warpath when somebody has a different idea than ours, thinking, is a threat to my sense gratification. Of various ways. Tendency of the mind, also not just externally, within the mind, this tendency in the mind to think how to cause harm to other living entities. These are some of the propensities. So cruelty and violence towards others primarily is the mood. That very thought of seeing harm to others. Now hopefully we don't have as much of that tendency as perhaps Aghasura has, but there's always, at least to some degree, that tendency within us, or that intolerance towards others having somewhat different feelings, or the lack of compassion towards other living entities, whether it's due to ignorance or not, but it's still there. So by hearing this pastime of Krishna, who's about to kill the Aghasura demon, if we hear attentively and submissively this pastime, then these tendencies can be killed. These tendencies can be removed from our consciousness so that the sky becomes a little clearer. The sky of our consciousness becomes a little clearer, and the sun of the holy name will manifest in our heart a little brighter. We'll start to realize the truth a little bit more. Okay, well it's 9 o'clock. I'll finish there. We'll carry on tomorrow. Tomorrow I think will be the death of Agasura. The final blow. Any questions? Yes, Pitambar.
Is it okay to ask a question that is not related to the discussion?
What do you want to ask? A question about some politics or what?
No, like I mean, lots of people were waiting for this groundbreaking and
Waiting for?
For this groundbreaking. And I would like to ask if how many pious points do we have to have in order to have a new temple?
How many pious credits
Yes.
do you have to have? I'll have to look it up. I think it's 31,345.678. I'm not sure what number you're on right now. Maybe Indravali can tell us what the latest count is. Interesting question. Let's look at it another way. Now, we can relate it to the topic, okay? We have two desires going on here simultaneously. Krishna's desire, the coward boy's desire. His potency, Leela Shakti, is now going to harmonize this to fulfill all desires. This is the nature of the Absolute. He can fulfill all desires through his various Shaktis or his various potencies. So Krishna knows what is best. You may have a strong desire, and presumably you do, to see that a new temple is constructed for their Lordship Sri Sri Radha Madhava. They also, I'm sure, would be delighted to have a nice new temple. Of course, we can never offer enough. But there's another Shakti or potency working here. In other words, he's waiting to see, are we ready for it? Are we serious about it? Are you really serious? Are you doing it for the right reasons? Is the reason pure? Is the reason for the Lord's pleasure or for some other reason? All different factors are taken into account. And things will happen when the time is right. It may be now. I'm not saying it isn't now. But everything has its reason. Why sometimes seems to be, many of our temples in this movement have taken a long time to construct. This is, I don't know, I was there in the very first moments when we located the land. We raised most of the money to purchase the land, in fact. So I was very involved in the very beginning of this project. Since then I've not been so involved. So that may have been 8 or 10 years ago. I can't remember the exact date, but it was at least 8 years ago, if not more. And so you can say, well, we've just been getting permits, this, that, the other for the last years, paying the money, doing many different things, obstacles, this and... But these are like an artist in a sense. They're obstacles that have to be removed from our hearts, somehow or another. And there's another side to this too, which is maybe not quite so. But sometimes Krishna gives anyway, okay, just like a parent to a spoiled child. Okay, you learn. So we hope that's not the case. We hope the case is a positive one, that we really want to please Radha, Madhava and Panchatattva, to glorify them, and to facilitate their glories being made available on a bigger scale to countless residents of Philippines. We hope so. And we hope that this project will bring unity. We hope this project will bring loving relationships between devotees. Because the most pleasing thing, let me think, I'll see if I can read it. I don't know if I've got it on the screen here. Let me see. I may have. Let me read something very interesting. If I can find it. It may not be so easy. Yeah, here. Okay, I'll read it. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, he's king. He's talking to the Prachetas, the sons of King Prachinibarhishat. I think we mentioned him last night. My dear sons of the king, I am very much pleased by the friendly relationships among you. All of you are engaged in one occupation, devotional service. I'm so pleased with your mutual friendship that I wish you all good fortune. Now you may ask a benediction of me. So what's going on here is when the devotees are friendly, even to those who don't agree. When we shouldn't be like this Agasura, who only likes people who agree with him. No. There may be many branches of devotion, as Prabhupada says here. Since the sons of King Prachinibarhishat were all united in Krishna consciousness, the Lord was very pleased with them. Each and every one of the sons of King Prachinibarhishat was an individual soul, but they were united in offering transcendental service to the Lord. The unity of the individual souls attempting to satisfy the Lord or rendering service to the Lord is real unity. In the material world, such unity is not possible. Even though people may officially unite, they all have different interests. In the United Nations, for instance, all the nations have their particular national ambitions, and consequently they cannot be united. This unity between individual souls is so strong within this material world that even in the society of Krishna consciousness, members sometimes appear disunited due to their having different opinions and leanings toward material things. This unity is due to the fact we still have material thoughts. Actually, in Krishna consciousness, there cannot be two opinions. There is only one goal, to serve Krishna to one's best ability. If there is some disagreement over service, such disagreement is to be taken as spiritual. Those who are actually engaged in the service of the Supreme Personality of Godhead cannot be disunited in any circumstance. This makes the Supreme Personality of Godhead very happy and willing to award all kinds of benediction to his devotees, as indicated in this verse. We can see that the Lord is immediately prepared to award all benedictions to the sons of King Prachinibarhishat. We could go on, but I'll leave it at that. So it's when we have this favorable disposition or attitude towards the devotees, even if they don't agree with their line, or they appear not to, we should still be favorable. There should still be loving relationship. Prabhupada said, your love for me will be shown how much you work cooperatively together after I leave this world. Cooperation. Cooperation. It doesn't mean we're all the same. It means we work lovingly together, different limbs doing different activities. So devotees should be very careful to guard against the tendency of fault-finding, criticizing, belittling, but we should develop respect, especially for seniors, those who are in positions of, whatever it may be, in responsibility in Krishna consciousness. And then Krishna will naturally reciprocate, as Prabhupada says here, when he's pleased with the unity. Diversity is obviously there, but Prabhupada's mood was unity in diversity. Unity means for Krishna. Diversity means we all are individuals with individual natures, individual capacity. The unity is we offer that in the one purpose of pleasing Krishna and not pleasing ourselves because we want to prove ourselves or because we think we know better, etc., etc. That's not devotional service. Devotional service is genuinely cultivating the anukulyena Krishnanu shilanam, the favorable mood of following in the footsteps of advanced Vaishnavas, Krishna Anushilanam, cultivating devotional service in an anukulyena, in a favorable mood, a mood which pleases Krishna. We've just seen Krishna is very pleased with the Prachetas because of their united relationship, their favorable relationship amongst themselves, even though they're all different. So anyway, that's taking a little step further, you can say, of just accumulating pious credits. But the most pious credit is found when we serve the Vaishnavas, serve the holy name sincerely. This is Bhakti and Mukha Sukriti. It's not Karma Sukriti or Jnana Sukriti. It's Bhakti Sukriti. And that primarily is when we serve the Vaishnavas with love and devotion for their pleasure and the pleasure of Krishna. Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Go Premanandi. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai. Hari Bol. Jai.